Alright, y'all. Let's see what's gonna happen this time. Astrea's Broken Heart, Season 2, Episode 4. Y'all, I really don't even know what to say anymore. Like, the story is so intriguing that every single opportunity I get, I continue playing this, even if I have gems or not. I have to know what happens. How do you distinguish a nightmare from reality? Episode 4, The Awakening. Now someone please tell me how the fuck it's possible that every single bitch on that fucking village died, yet somehow more always survived. He's like a fucking cockroach. You want him dead, but somehow no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you kill him, he always keeps on coming back. Warning, this episode contains mentions of substance abuse. Okay. Simona breathed heavily into her tear-soaked pillow. As was often the case after particularly heavy dreams, she was stuck somewhere between reality and fantasy. Okay, so it was a dream that resembled reality. She had the feeling that Bor was lurking in the corner, as if patiently waiting for Simona to come to him willingly. She could still smell the burned scent of his skin. Her whole body ached from his touch. But maybe, just maybe, Raphael told us that our memories would slowly come back. And I did talk about this in the first episode of the season, I feel. Her memory is still intact, she just can't have access to it. And the more she remembers, the more trauma will appear. What happened right now, her actually having the feeling that more is like they're trying to suffocate her, was because of what happened at the monastery. He tried to hold her firmly while using a knife to cut her open. As in, the intention was to maim her, to kill her, whichever way you want to look at it. And she may not have the memory of that moment, but she, or the place where it happened, but she does remember that he tried to kill her. And that's because of part of her memory slowly coming to the surface again. Do dreams ever feel this real? Simona had struggled all night. She could not escape her nightmare. Reality was so close, rippling above her in trembling circles, but more forcibly held her underwater until the morning. Simona started unblinkingly ahead. She could still see his face with its hollow eye sockets in front of her. Look at this. Yeah, because he was burned. She couldn't remember what color his eyes had been before. Maybe they were always empty, bottomless pits. The first rays of sunlight illuminated the bedroom, chasing the horror back into the room's crevices, but Simona could sense that they hadn't disappeared. How much longer can I endure these dreams again and again? Girl, you wanted to have those memories back. And he did say that you actually regaining your memories was not gonna be pleasant. She was sure that her lost memory was to blame. Yep. My subconsciousness is painting the most horrible pictures to try and fill in the gaps. Every night my tormentors come to me and abuse me, and each time they go further. I have to seek help. Start taking sedatives. No. I feel like if I keep on going with the faith choice, someone in the comment section is gonna beat the shit out of me. So... But I feel like the options that are going on down there are not what I would choose. I would go with confront my fears, because that's a logical thing to do. What do you mean with I need to go to a specialist or take sedatives? Sedatives are not gonna help you with your problems. You know what? Let's go. We're gonna seek help. There's no denying that what I saw traumatized me. And if there's trauma, doctor's help is necessary. It's nice, though, that she doesn't say she's gonna be her own doctor. Her body responded to her tentative attempts to stand with a new wave of pain. Simona struggled to make her way to the mirror, then closed her eyes for a moment. She knew she was in for an uphill battle against the dark circles under her eyes and her tired appearance, but the mirror managed to surprise her. There were small bruises in the spots where an eyelash more had touched her in the dream. Am I injuring myself? I have the feeling the vivid dreams are actually making her feel that she needs to defend herself in real life. So she's actually not really hurting herself, but I feel like she's really defending herself in real life because these are vivid dreams. So what she's doing in her nightmares is what she's also doing in real life. So if she actually smacking away Moore's hand that was resting on her arm, or like grabbing forcefully this man's hand and like pushing it away from her, it could be possible that she's leaving traces on her body. The red marks on her neck and arms weren't very noticeable, but they were enough to scare her. No, I can't just leave things like this. She needs to talk. Simona didn't want to seek help from her former colleagues at Godland. Malek came to mind. Of course he's a busy man, if not a given that he'll make time for me, but it's worth a try. The phone in Simona's hand suddenly came to life. Felonia. You slept too long, Simona. I didn't wake you up or wait for you, sorry. Your gift is in the living room, see you later. How curious. Before going to investigate the mysterious presence, Simona decided to ask Malek if he would see her today. He replied to the text in his usual laconic way. He promised to pick her up in an hour. I need to wash all these nightmares away. Perhaps still thinking about the upcoming meeting with the professor, Simona chose an interesting outfit. Okay. No. Cute? Professor's pet, I'm weak. Honestly, it would be cute though. Morning class, I'm not sure. They all look cute to me if you ask me. This or, you know what, go with this one. Oops, I did it again. What's with all those, and again those ugly hairs. Oh god. Strange, this time we're not doing her makeup. She limited her breakfast to a modest cup of coffee. Just like in college, Simona quickly gulped down the invigorating beverage, then ran to the living room. She looked around, searching for a clue as to where Felonia had left the item, but then the gift greeted her with a cheerful chirp. An ortolan? A tiny yellow bird sat in a cage waiting for its new owner. The fragile creature tilted its head curiously, beckoning Simona closer. Did Felonia shut down the illegal activities of that wretched restaurant and decided to give me a condemned bird? She couldn't stop thinking about the fate that the bird had avoided thanks to her savior. The fates we both avoided. It's a good thing that you don't know what was threatening you. Simona didn't think long about what to do next. She immediately took the cage to the garden. She opened the door and waited for the bird to decide to leave her temporary home. Instead of flying away, the ortolan hopped onto a branch and stared at Simona. As if sensing that something was happening, a wolf emerged from the bushes. Oh, Malbante! Hi, I brought you in a neighbor. Malbante barked in approval and sprawled out under the tree. Cute. I need to make a feather for her. The ortolan was soon joined by the lone bird that had seen Harry off on the day of his escape from Astrea. The old garden inhabitants shamelessly hopped onto the thin branch and over to the guest, chirping a greeting. Now you won't be alone here. The thought of the garden coming to life warmed her heart. Simona let the inhabitants be, both old and new. She left the garden with undisguised joy. Nice companion. Yes. Malek was already waiting for her at the main entrance. This time his curiosity was directed not at the building, but at the trees surrounding it. He met her with a question instead of a greeting. Do you like your garden? The question seemed out of place, but Simona answered obediently as she caught up with him. It's just a garden. It suits me. I see. It must have a rich history. Perhaps. I haven't fully explored it yet. It seems vast to me. Malek was silent, lost in thought. Simona didn't know what he was waiting for. She asked, "Do you want to take a walk?" "Someday, definitely, but not today." Malek smiled broadly and opened the car door. Judging by his friendly face, I'm not bothering him too much. But as soon as she got into the car, his smile disappeared. Simona didn't notice. Uh-oh. The professor apparently had no other appointments that day. Even the reception area was empty. We bothered him on a free day. The absence of the receptionist behind the door was both unsettling and exciting. It made Malek's guest seem important. Is he seeing me on his day off? Yeah. Would you like something to drink? That's actually something extremely special. No, thank you. Simona didn't wait for Malek to ask for the first main question. She decided to start by expressing her gratitude. Thank you for agreeing to see me. It was always open to you, Simona. Now I feel special. Malek stood by his desk. She watched him and didn't dare to sit down either. I think I should clarify the purpose of my visit. I was hoping you could conduct a hypnosis session with me. And here I thought you decided to catch up on the lectures you missed. Simona sputtered. She didn't immediately understand what he meant. His gaze glided shamelessly over her curves, cluing her in. Interesting choice. Makes one think. About what? About the lessons I could teach you. Bye. Not this man trying to behave like David. His offhand remark almost jumbled all the thoughts in her head. But Simona found the strength not to give in to the strange provocation. She continued, Malek, the thing is, I think I might be losing my mind. At this point, I would have to say I think I'm losing my mind. Because with all those awful dreams, I see things I can't explain. I see them as clearly as I see you now. Everything around me has turned into one big mystery. I can't put his puzzle together, and most importantly, I'm missing the most crucial pieces. All I know about what happened to me is in that burned village is what Michael told me. Raphael assured me that my memory would return, but so far it hasn't. Malek was unable to suppress a smirk. He asked, Did he have it somewhere in his possession? If it was a joke, Simona didn't find it funny. I have to remember, and I don't have time to wait. Are you that eager to dive back into the nightmare you experienced? It's all about getting rid of my nightmares. It's hard to explain what's happening to me in my dreams. Malek stepped away from his desk and approached Simona. Is he seeing the signs? Nervously, she took a step back and her calves bumped into the cool partition. Are you afraid of your own subconscious? I feel like she's most scared of the answers she could find there. Malek said this was a sneer and that stung her pride. I'm not afraid of my subconscious. I hurt myself in my sleep. This morning I found bruises all over my body. I almost suffocated. You're losing control of your life. You said so yourself a moment ago. Should I tell you that self-harm is common in such situations? Simona felt like a stupid student. She bit her lip. I'm not trying to regain control in that way. I do this when I'm asleep. It's different. Are you sure that marks were really there? This question was the last straw. Simona almost hissed in response. I'm not crazy yet. Did I say that? Ooh. Honestly, I think a person like him is important in your life because he's not really trying to make fun of you, even though it seems like it, but he's actually asking questions in that point of view that actually makes you think about what he's saying, whether you like it or not. And he's the kind of person to not immediately give you the answers to what you want to know. He's the person that wants you to figure it out on your own, because in his eyes, humans aren't stupid. We're just not seeing the full picture. And he's trying to help you see the full picture before he actually says everything out loud. Because actually, you not understanding a damn thing, you being confused, and he's saying things like this, I would smack the shit out of him. Malek came closer. He reached out and casually flipped her hair back over her shoulder. Were there bruises here? Simona understood that she had to come to him of her own free will. Not to a friend, but to a specialist, and his behavior should be viewed as that of a doctor. He's asking the right questions. He's not doing anything inappropriate. He just wants to make sure I'm not lying, to see for himself. But it was too close, and it was arousing. We do love to arouse. Yes, they were on my neck. Malek lowered his eyes to the fabric and leaned forward. Can you show me? It was impossible for her to see him only as a doctor. Her face flushed at a suggestion that she expose herself a little. Malek savored her embarrassment. He made her blush even more by clarifying. Just the next Simone and nothing more. If you say so, Saya. Honestly, unbutton it myself? Nah, you know what? I'm not gonna seduce you. You want to see my goodies, you need to do it yourself. I'm not actually gonna ease the job for you. Unbutton it yourself. So you'll unbutton just what you want to see. And if you unbutton too much, then I know it's because you actually allowed your emotions to get the upper hand. Simona tried to calm her slight trembling and whispered faintly, Look. The submissive that flickered in her gaze untied his hands, which had never seemed bound in the first place. Malek skillfully unbuttoned the first button, then immediately moved on to the second, the third. It seemed that if she didn't say anything, he would unbutton them all. What did I say? You want to see everything? You got to do it yourself. And she didn't say anything. But at that fourth button, her thrilling thoughts were cut short by his cool hand. Malek's hand rested on her collarbone so naturally and unexpectedly that it took her breath away. His fingers slipped under the fabric. They brushed roughly against her skin and pulled the collar down. He's living his best life, and honestly, me too. Simona felt a rush of heat, not just from his touch, but from the way he looked at her. Malek gazed at her shamelessly, not hiding his interest, and although his hand rested chastely on her naked shoulder, her whole body burned. There's nothing on his skin. Not knowing why, Simona replied in a whisper, That can't be. His fingers slid up to her neck. They covered it gently, mimicking the position of Moore's hand in her dream. For a moment she thought Malek resembled a serpent. With his smooth movements, his predatory gaze, and his words full of hidden temptation. Simona, it's not that easy to leave marks on the skin. I don't think you could squeeze your neck with that kind of force and I'll wake up. With what kind of force? Oh my god. Honestly, I'm living. Are we seeing what's unfolding in front of our eyes? Honestly, I get why you all have the hots for Malek. I do, because this man is literally kind of a mixture of David and Michael, but like their best personality traits. He has that straightforwardness and the desire not to hide how he truly feels about someone like David, but he also has that calm and detached manner that Michael has. Like, he's not being upfront about how he truly feels, but if you actually confront him about it, he's not hiding it either, unlike Michael. So, he's kind of like the best of both of them, kind of. I get it. The room filled with a sound that was either a soft, short laugh or a sharp exhalation. Do you want me to show you? Please, by all means, choke me. You see, this is like the kind... Y'all, I feel like I'm doing something bad here. When I actually say it's attractive, I don't actually mean that actually choking you and actually suffocating you is something. But when you truly are in the mood, you truly feel arousal for your partner, and you're like the kind that like it rough as in leaving a mark on your partner, then your partner actually like holding your throat with their hand. It's more like showing that they want you to remain intact, as in out of fear of you slipping away, because they want you all to themselves in that moment, you know? Simona responded before she was fully realized what Malek was offering. By all means, continue. Excuse me? What the hell? Simona tried to turn away to gather her thoughts, but Malek didn't let her. He left her neck alone, but lifted her chin with his fingers. He made her look into his eyes. Perhaps it's not the nightmares that torment you, but your hidden desires. I mean, I'd be doing this to myself. Simona couldn't tell if he was teasing her or simply taunting her by questioning everything she had said. Irritation managed to break through the embarrassment. She lashed out with a not-so-threatening assumption. Maybe it's you who they're tormenting. This time Malek really laughed. It was a soft, velvety laugh. Maybe, Simona. Maybe. Finally stepping back, he returned the collar of her shirt to his original state. He began to button her shirt. He did so with deliberately slowness, as if prolonging the pleasure. Next time, Simona, take a picture when you wake up with marks on you. Otherwise, I might think you're actually trying to seduce me. I feel like it was remembering. Like, we did have cuts all over our body. So, maybe we just remembered where Moore had actually cut us in the monastery. And in our nightmare, it was like him actually strangling us and strangulating us and leaving marks on our body with his hands rather than the knife. That's not why I came here. She struggled to speak, and it wasn't even about his touch. There were too many conflicting emotions raging inside her. To her horror, Simona felt a strange, almost imperceptible desire rise against her will. A desire to submit to him. Of course. Malek likes to flirt with you. I like to tease the shit out of him, yes. Malek brushed invisible dust from her shoulder and nodded faintly toward the couch. Let's go, we'll lay you down on the couch and try to bring back your memory. Thank you, Daddy. I like the chair. Simona walked over to the window and obediently lay down. Her skin still burned from his touch. It was hard to focus. Relax, Simona, listen to me. It only took her a few minutes to slip into the trance. Her body longed to find the answers to her questions. Picture it. You haven't seen each other in a long time. She smiles broadly at you, eager for a hug. She smells of green tea. You press it closer to her. Now you catch the light berry scent of shampoo coming from her soft hair. How do you feel? Simona felt awful. And she felt that way the whole time that she allowed herself to be guided by the professor's voice. Malek didn't just succeed in his task, he exceeded her expectations. He walked her through all the events of that day. Then he lingered in the church, the most controversial part of her memories. The moment when Raphael revealed his snow-white wings and hovered beneath the ceiling. What she saw made her want to hide immediately, but Malek asked her to describe the angel in detail. And you weren't the only one who saw him. Everyone saw him. Simona was shaking all over. She tried to escape the memory, but the soft voice kept her in the burning building. Simona gasped for breath. Through the smoke and the smell of blood, she looked up. What did you feel when Raphael burned those people? Fear. Oh, he actually burned them. I thought he just blinded them. I felt an animal fear when I looked at him. He radiated such power that my own seemed insignificant. It is, but that doesn't mean that he was willing to actually destroy us. He wanted to actually get rid of them because they hurt us. How did you get home? At this point, her memory lost its vividness. Only strange sensations remained, pain and cold. Wind whistling in her ears, the warmth of someone else's body. Raphael carried me in his arms. Where are you now? When I found herself in her room, she felt fear again. Now that she knew the outcome, she also felt shame. In my own bedroom, I hear their anxious voices. They're all nearby. What do they need you? Ramona obeyed the voice. She suddenly found herself in Astrea's living room face to face with her new superiors. My echo says that all roads will lead me to the beast. Are they using you? They hope I'll lead the beast to its demise. Malek's gaze became thoughtful and detached, like the day she had first come to him. Simona heard no new questions, so she continued answering this one. But their hopes, like their fears, are laughable. Fears? Some roads lead me to the beast's victory. Simona was now frozen in a completely empty room, recreating by her subconscious. She listened. Good girl, Simona. Now it's time to come back. Simona slowly resurfaced as reality following the man's quiet voice. Along with her memory, the fear had returned. Oh, hell no. Don't you dare tell me that she's actually gonna zoom out on Raphael again, because I'm gonna murder the shit out of her. Sometime later, this time Zuna didn't refuse a drink. Malek offered her several options. I'll have a glass of water. Ooh, brandy. Nah, I want an iced tea, thank you. She had to hold the glass with her 2 hands to bring it to her mouth. An angel. An honest-to-God angel in the house I live in. Now that I think about it, we grew up in a cult and us praying to the Lord. I remember that in the last episode we said if we could actually talk to an angel, we would ask a specific question. And it was why an angel would allow such awful things in the world to happen in the first place, or why our prayers weren't heard when they were desperately in need of help. And maybe knowing that Raphael is one of these angels that could have made a difference in her life, that would also create some kind of conflicting emotions inside of her. Simona swallowed her rising panic along with the liquid and whispered, "No wonder I'm having nightmares." Everything Mikael had said was actually true. Raphael had saved her and meant no harm. But knowing who he was didn't make it any easier. This time Malek didn't sit at his desk. He sat on the sofa next to her. He looked at her with undisguised curiosity and asked her how she was feeling. "Just fine. I hope you're not planning to put me in an asylum."
I've heard stories far more fantastic than yours, Simona. So what if you saw an angel? It's much more intriguing to listen to people who have seen the devil.
Simona played along with his mood and smiled crookedly. "You really think I'm losing my mind, but maybe I am." Simona squeezed her eyes shut and tried to erase the image of Raphael. The vision was frozen in her mind's eye. She didn't doubt the reality of what she had seen, but she couldn't figure out how to live with it. "I kissed him. I kissed an angel. So what?" Simona looked at Malek and remembered her friend. Ruth really betrayed me. She was ready to hand me over to those fanatics. She suddenly wanted to go home to Astrea, to safety, and to never leave its walls again. I almost died. I was really ready to give up my life. The room was silent for several long moments. Finally, Malek seemed to make some kind of decision. He stood up.
I'm going to give you some sedatives. It'll help you sleep peacefully.
Of course. Who doubted? Simona didn't stop him. I mean, girl, you wanted sedatives. If you keep on acting like this bitch, sorry, I just think it's ridiculous that she's so petrified of Raphael when he saved her. I don't understand. Simona silently accepted the bottle of pills from his hands. Thank you.
You can take one right now. They won't take effect immediately.
The printed name was familiar, but Simona was reluctant to take the medication. I have a hard enough time waking up as it is. What if the nightmares don't go away? The awkward silence was broken by her phone. It beeped loudly with a message from Mikael. "Yes, it looks like I have to go."
An assignment?
"Yes, I have to leave." Simona shoved the bottle into her bag and got up.
I'll give you a ride.
"No need, I'll call a taxi." "Nah."
I insist. Clearly you can't be left unattended for even a minute, Simona.
Honestly, I love this. He's just being real. He's like, "Bitch, I can't leave you alone for 1 minute. You immediately have someone else chasing you.
If you go missing, your colleagues will tear me apart. Bye."
It was hard to believe that someone like Malek could really fear someone, and it was even harder to believe in his concern. Still, given the choice between taxi and Malek's car, Simona was more inclined to choose the latter. The fewer outsiders in my life, the better. Simona thanked Malek for everything and went to his car. Felonia was waiting for her at the given address. Malek continued his show of care. He handed the evaluator directly into the hands of her colleague. He introduced himself.
Malek Sinner.
Felonia didn't respond immediately. First, she gave the man a suspicious look. She forced out her name with such reluctance that no one could miss how she had no intention of continuing the conversation.
Felonia.
But Malek did not let her go so easily.
How curious. I wonder why your parents gave you a name with such a perverse meaning.
In Old French, Felonia means evil or an immoral act. Damn.
And for what purpose did yours give you such a lofty one?
Malek is Arabic for king, period. Because he is. Malek shrugged and smiled.
Many people want greatness for their children, but punishment this is the first time I've encountered such a thing. Rose should avoid such encounters.
Felonia's anger grew with each word, while Malek's smile only widened. This man does not give a damn.
I didn't expect Astrea to have such personalities.
I didn't work at Astrea. I'm with the police.
Oh, now that makes sense to me.
God, why is he picking on her? Change the subject, thank you. Val, didn't we need to hurry to that meeting?
Simona, let's go.
Thanks for the ride, Malek.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Instead of a handshake, Malek offered Felonia his business card.
If you ever need help with anything, I'll be glad to assist.
This man does not stop. He does not let anyone catch a break. Simona was certain that Felonia wouldn't even touch the small card. But after a brief moment of hesitation, she took it. Felonia waited for Malek to get into the card and blurted out, "Oh my goodness."
Who is he?
Simona wasn't quite sure how to describe him. He's helping me and Michael. He's looking for anything related to the beast, and he also helped me recover my memory today. Felonia didn't ask anything more. She simply nodded and walked toward the house. So she's not at all interested in what I managed to remember? The realization struck her quickly. It grew into a burning resentment almost immediately. Of course, at Astrea everyone knows everything and no one tells me anything directly. Wait. Felonia turned reluctantly and waited. She was bracing herself for something. You knew Raphael was an angel, didn't you?
I did.
And you didn't tell me. It's not her place. Felonia chose not to answer the rhetorical question at all. The resentment turned into anger. Who else lives under the same roof as me? Who are you, really?
Certainly not an angel.
Simona was angry at everyone around her and ready to cry with frustration. I would understand, though, like, they actually, even if they don't really have the intention of only using us and that they truly care, the point is and remains that they plan, sort of, to use us in order to get to the beast. And they can't even be honest with me. I mean, but from one side, can she blame them? Like, she saw half of what, or of who Raphael is, and she had a panic attack and had Raphael manipulate her memories away because she couldn't deal with it. Now imagine that everyone else there is like, I don't know, one is a shapeshifter, one is a demon, one is an angel, as in Raphael is an angel. The other one is just a healer, as in a kitsune, like, and the list goes on. Like, she would be having, like, a huge-ass heart attack. Why couldn't you just tell me? Yes, I probably wouldn't have believed you, but at least it wouldn't have been such a shock.
It doesn't matter, Simona.
What else can you all do? What else are you hiding from me? Did my memory disappear on its own, or was it that you're doing? Nah, Raphael. Felonia met Simona's aggression with her own.
I didn't do anything to you. Raphael erased your memory so you wouldn't lose your mind. You're barely holding on as it is. Do you think it was a bad decision?
But it's my memory. Mine. It's not like you actually gave them a choice, bitch.
You're just a human, Simona. Weak and incapable of handling everything at once. The only reason things are kept from you is to protect you.
Simona's anger slowly began to fade. Shame took its place. Felonia noticed the change in the evaluator and also calmed down. She began to speak more softly.
They really could have told you sooner. And if Somnus and Virius hadn't gotten involved, I'm sure they would have kept the truth from you even longer.
Still, Simona remembered the feelings Malek had brought back all too well. The primeval fear she had felt that night was nothing compared to what she felt now. Alright, maybe there was some sense in it, but damn, it fell. Angels, demons, am I really supposed to accept this?
Come on, Simona, please. Let's leave this tough conversation for our boss. He started all of this.
Simona had almost forgotten the main point. She caught herself. Where exactly are we going?
Demas, we're going to talk to her father.
The image of the miserable, frightened young woman from the club immediately came to mind. Simona was afraid of the answer, but still hesitantly asked, did something happen to her?
No, Michael just wants to know about her father.
If I remember correctly, he owned the Bioinfinity startup.
As he promised people a cure for death.
You have an excellent memory. No, I do not. Like the enabled hints saved me.
Anyway, he's already served time for his financial scams.
Do you think we'll run into another fanatic?
I don't think so.
Emma mentioned that her sister used to go to church. The women stopped at an old house that clearly needed repairs. Felonia couldn't find a doorbell, so she knocked. A man with a downcast, gloomy face opened the door.
Surely Emma isn't ready yet. Well, from the police.
Simona had never seen the deep grief disappear so quickly. It seemed that with one sentence, Felonia had replaced that man's sorrow with genuine disgust.
I've nothing to say to you. I've done nothing wrong. Good for you.
She's like, fine by me if you believe that, but I'm not done with you.
But we need to talk to Emma. What's wrong with her?
Felonia sighed irritably. She made what was clearly her last attempt to keep her composure.
I'd like to believe there's nothing wrong with her. We need to show her a photo of Barbara's suspected killer to see if she saw him at the club.
When the man realized the police hadn't come for him, he gave in and let the women in.
You don't have much time. Don't worry, we won't keep you for long.
Goodness. The modestly furnished room had worn furniture and looked shabby. Before sitting down on an offered chair, Simona pressed its back to test its sturdiness. Barbara didn't die that long ago, so this place didn't fall into disrepair because of that tragedy.
She'll be down in a minute.
There was no extra piece of furniture, so the man remained standing. He glared at Felonia and asked,
Did you get Jim?
The question gave the evaluator pause. Really? What happened to Moore?
We didn't catch him, he died. He burned alive in a church.
Well, the man clicked his tongue in disappointment and turned away. Did he want to kill him with his own hands?
Does he have any relatives?
Damn! Felonia seemed to be thinking the same thing as the evaluator. She smirked.
If you threaten his relatives, you'll end up back in prison.
The man threw up his hands theatrically and clutched his heart.
God forbid, what are you talking about? I just want to sue them, that's all. Barbara's death brought us so much grief, we could use the money.
The condition of the house suggested that the family could indeed use the money. He wanted to get rich by deceiving people, and now he himself is poor. Melania wasn't satisfied with his answer. Instead, her features hardened and her voice grew frighteningly cold.
Did you pay moral damages to the victims of bioinfinity?
The man no longer clutched his heart. Instead, he assumed a threatening, closed-off pose.
What a comparison. Did I kill anyone? Didn't patients refuse treatment because of your promises? How many people have you robbed of their loved ones?
The conversation was becoming very tense.
I didn't force anyone to follow me. I believed that my project would work. All the test subjects signed waivers. They had no claims against me.
He took advantage of people who had lost all hope. Yeah, it's hard not to judge a person like that. Any questions will only bury him deeper. So, how many people died because of you?
Again, I didn't kill anyone. The cause of death for the sixth volunteer was the progression of the disease.
Did you return the money to the investors?
I had nothing in return. It all really went into development.
Why did you get such a long sentence?
Was it long? I served my time for bioinfinity a long time ago. There were many risky projects after that.
He's just a con man, that's all. You don't take the easy way out, do you?
If it's my fault that people part with their money so easily. And I suppose you spend all your earnings on lawyers.
The man lifted his chin proudly and said,
I don't spend a penny on them. You'd be surprised, but not everyone sees something illegal in what I do. There are still people in this world who, out of conscience, are willing to help the wrongfully accused.
Simona really wanted to ask him why he was living so poorly, if that was the case, but the awkward question was interrupted by Emma's appearance. She entered the living room quietly like a ghost. Ignoring the guest, she approached her father and said she was ready to go. The downtrodden, exhausted young woman looked so unwell that Simona couldn't help but sigh softly. Emma turned around. She looked at Simona and Felonia with dull eyes. Slowly recognizing blossomed on her face as she realized that she was meeting familiar people even if they weren't close. Oh my god. Ay, ay, ay. My poor child.
It's you. The joy didn't last long. It evaporated almost immediately under the weight of the grief she had experienced. She looks terrible. Where are you taking her? To a talk show. Emma's already slumped shoulders drooped even more. I don't think she wants to go. Why a talk show? We need to talk about how much we all miss our sister. And I'll talk about how I was against her and Barb going to that club. It's about time that all these hot spots were shut down. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes at her father's first sentence. She sobbed softly and whimpered. I don't want to talk to them about Barb. They didn't know her. They'll say she was a whore for going into that room. Exactly, and you need to tell them that she was dragged there by force. Tell them that your sister fought back, that she tore her nails clawing at the walls.
Oh, hell no. Like, actually forcing your daughter to actually go to a talk show in order to talk about the person she loved the most, about the person that got killed because of her, and try to make everyone feel pity for you and everything. Fuck no.
That she was calling for you and that she didn't want to.
Please stop. Me. Emma grew paler with each word. Is he completely out of his mind? Me. I'm on that side. But honestly, are we seeing that now that she has all of her memories together, that she's again that strong bitch that we know? She's actually capable to set priorities again. Will we look at this? Now, we're ignoring her antics with Raphael. We will have times to clear up that as well. I don't think she should go with you.
Are you to say that I'm her father?
But you're not taking her feelings into consideration.
Maybe I should decide what she does and doesn't do.
No. How old is she? Felony supported the now speechless evaluator.
Maybe Emma should decide what she does and doesn't do. She's an adult, isn't she?
Felonia, a queen. Me. Emma, do you want to go on this talk show?
Nobody should force you to do anything you don't want to, Emma. Nobody.
Emma trembled all over and shook her head.
Excuse me, but we're just getting paid a lot of money for just one episode.
Yes, exactly. The money. He's using his daughter in order to get money. He's exploiting his own daughter. And he's not seeing anything wrong with that. She's your daughter. Not someone you can exploit in order to get money out of her. Like, can't you even see that she's like this close to actually breaking down? What she should do is actually get her some help so that she can talk about what happened to her, so that she can slowly regain control of her life.
I don't see the difference between her crying on the camera or crying in the bathroom.
Because in the camera, no one sees you breaking down and in your vulnerable state. On live television, people actually see you in your most vulnerable state. And you don't want everyone around to know what happened to you, or who you are, or how vulnerable you can become. If you feel the need to actually do this, then you go on the talk show. But you can force her to do it. If she would actually come out of her own accord and be like, you know what, I'm going on that talk show, that would be different. But she don't want to go. Simona felt like hitting him. Me. What a heartless bastard. Me. Defend Emma. Emma made it clear that she doesn't want to go. Are you going to force her in front of the police? The man immediately lost his temper and tried to reason with his daughter. God damn it. Smacked the shit out of him, Felonia. But Felonia's angry glare made him back off. Thank you. There was a knock on the door. There was no more time to argue over money.
Emma will come to her sense. If not today, then tomorrow. After all, I'm all she's got.
Okay, hell no. Like, can she, like... Can we get a home for her?
Go ahead and play the Guardians for now.
Slapping a mask of grief back on his face, the man hurried to the reporters already waiting for... Y'all, oh my god. We have a police officer in here. Can Felonia just tell him to get fucking lost? The unpleasant scene left a bitter aftertaste that everyone wanted to get rid of. All subjects seemed heavy, but talking about tribal things felt out of place. Simona chose the lesser evil. Did your father lose everything?
Lucy didn't pay anyone a single cent.
The glance that Simona cast around the room spoke for itself.
Emma hurried to explain. He has money, he just doesn't like to spend it. He never has. The sparsely furnished room was devoid of any personal, valuable items. It confirmed the young woman's words. Not even any pictures. He didn't bother with them because he didn't need them. My sister and I worked part-time together as waitresses after uni. We wanted to move out one day and live together. We didn't make much. We comforted ourselves by saying that modesty teaches us to be selective in everything. We chose the best club and didn't go anywhere else. Barb bought herself such a gorgeous dress. It took her so long to pick it out. She looked so beautiful in it. Unable to stand any longer, Emma slid to the floor. She curled up just like the day Simona found her. We should have just stayed home. Emma, we should have stayed home our whole lives. Then she wouldn't have died. Simona sat down next to her and let Emma lean on her shoulder. I honestly feel bad for her sister, though. Actually, we saw a glimpse of what happened to her sister. The only thing that didn't happen to us was actually them burning a specific mark onto our chest. The rest, we actually got a specific detail. Like, I can't even imagine what she must have gone through. Like, the horror that she must have felt before she was brutally murdered. Felonius brought it as she tried to come up with a solution. Where is your mother, Emma? Emma replied in a muffled voice without lifting her head. She's upstairs. She hates me. She blames me for Bob's death. She's grieving too, Emma. I know, she didn't say it to my face. She doesn't say anything to me anymore, not a word. She doesn't even look at me. Emma sobbed and burst into tears. Damn. Simona hugged the young woman and waited patiently. Valonia seemed to have decided something. She crouched down in front of them and gently pulled Emma away from her colleague. Emma, do you have any other relatives? I have a grandmother, but she lives on the other side of the city. If she's giving you moral support more than your own parents, then it's the best option you've got, sweetheart. Because if your own mother keeps on blaming you just because she's grieving, I'm sorry. Like, understand, we can always be on a higher moral ground. But actually blaming your daughter because your other one has been killed, like, that's not her fault. It's not like she killed herself. Do you want us to take you to her? Emma nodded and stood up so quickly. It was as if she was afraid they would change their minds. Just like at the club, they evaluated her to take Emma by the arm to help her reach the car. It was so obvious how much the walls of the house weighed on Emma. She had no one there to support her. She was lost, drowning in her own grief. Yeah, and that's actually what you need, just someone to be there by your side and actually help you slowly feel better about yourself. That's like something that her parents are not doing for her. The father is using her for publicity stunt in order to get money, and the mother blames her for her other daughter's death. So it's like she lost everything at once, and the second she steps outside of the house, she's being overpowered with either extreme guilt because of what her mother is saying, or extreme anxiety because of her father is like forcing talk shows or reporters onto her. Simona knew very well what it felt like to have everyone around you rush by, leaving you with no one to lean on. But she couldn't even imagine what this was like, to be plunged into such crushing loneliness, not by birth, but by the loss of the closest person to you in the world. Is it even possible to overcome this? You stood up for Emma and helped her. She won't forget it. No. Is it capable or possible to overcome this? Yes, but it's gonna take a huge ass amount of time, and you're actually gonna need another person to rely on. And I'm not saying about family, I mean a person from the outside, because they will actually have like a neutral view about the entire thing because they didn't know our sister. And they actually could say things that she actually needs to hear in order for her to slowly accept what has happened and slowly find reasons to forgive herself. Astrea's detective agency. It was only at Astrea's door that Simona remembered that they had never shown Emma the picture of Moore. Valonia reassured her. She said that wasn't the reason they had gone there. But then she hesitated and suddenly refused to enter the building. You know what? I think we're going to find out exactly who helped Emma's father get out of prison. Will tell Michael everything yourself. Simona suspected that it had become even more difficult for Valonia to talk to the others. She agreed willingly. I want her to talk to Raphael so badly. Simona looked at Michael but couldn't stop thinking about something else. She tried to imagine what he was since he introduced himself as Raphael's brother. An angel, probably? The report was brief indeed. Michael stood at the window. He stared thoughtfully at the outline of Astrea's statue. When Simona finished, he did not speak right away.
The young woman's father turned out to be a far from pleasant person.
Just like all our sinful fathers. The words just slipped out.
You think sin is the key factor?
Moore told me it wasn't about us, the victims, but about our ancestors. That all they needed was our blood filled with their sins. Michael turned away from the window and looked at her with respect. Yeah, because we remember our memories back.
Yes, that does confirm my suspicions.
Reputation. Even in the most difficult situations, you manage to remain helpful. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing, Simona.
Now, will you share something with me?
Of course.
What are you? Michael looked away from the gloomy garden and turned to her. He clasped his hands together. Simona didn't want to sit while he was standing, so she approached him and stood beside him.
What do you think was your father's primary sin?
Wrath, gluttony. I would have used the word arrogance. Because he felt the need to actually dominate everyone around him. And if they didn't agree with what they said, he felt the need to actually show his power. Pride.
Exactly, Simona.
Pride.
The father thought himself a god, able to decide who lives and who dies. He defied the Creator and his pride destroyed him. The first victim's mother died from illness long before her son was murdered. She ran a small brothel and had a very perverted way of doing business, often exploiting others. Adam Villano, the restaurant owner, became obsessed with the indulgence of the flesh. Emma's father hoards his money, terrified of spending an extra penny.
It wasn't difficult to draw further connections between the sins. Harry's father killed his mother in a fit of rage. Lily's mother threw acid in her rival's face when she lost a role to her. There's one more girl, the one who murder led to more getting caught, right? Was her father guilty of sloth?
Yes, he was the heir to a wealthy family who never achieved anything. His only accomplishment in life was his daughter, but he lost her too. Before she died, Mo let her call her father. But he was neglectful and wrapped up in drugs, so he didn't even pick up the phone.
It all sounded more or less clear, but something still nagged at Simona. So the beast is trying to find the next generation of whose ancestors were actually plunged in sinful acts. Like one family tree was responsible or connected to pride, the other one connected with sloth, and so on. It all sounded more or less clear, but something still nagged at Simona. Emma's father's certainly a jerk, but I doubt he's the greediest man in the world. And there are so many people prone to sloth these days that you could hold a casting call for the best example.
There's definitely something more to this, and I think we're getting close to figuring it out.
Michael smiled and allowed himself to relax a little. Simona followed his example. She tried to find a silver lining in all of this. So since there are 7 sins, does that mean there won't be any more victims?
They're apparently not looking for replacements. If they were, we would have found a body with a mark by now.
They want us. Yeah.
They need you. And Harry.
And what happens if they succeed in sacrificing all 7? Michael seemed to know, but was in no hurry to answer. Simona decided to speak up and try to read the truth in his eyes. Will the beast come to Earth? Her guess was not confirmed. Michael shook his head sadly and finally answered.
I'm afraid it's already here. It always has been. The question is, what will happen to us?
His words only made things worse. Simona shivered involuntarily. She wrapped her arms around herself. For the first time, the thought that there was an angel on her team brought her some comfort. Her anger had vanished, replaced by a tentative acceptance of her fate in these strange circumstances. Maybe we have a chance. I'm sorry. Even if our ancestor is like known for pride, can't they fight another one with pride? Or does this all have to do with families that actually made part of like a cult, and their family tree actually was known for one of the 7 sins? Because in my eyes, it's fucking ridiculous that they're so persistent in sacrificing us. Maybe we have a chance. This time it was Michael who decided to change the subject. As your memory returned, they mentioned most words. Yep. Realizing this, Simona nodded. Yes. And you didn't even try to bombard me with questions. There are too many of them. There are even more emotions inside me. I don't know whether to be angry or sad. It feels like I've gone through all of my emotions at least twice already. I feel crushed by them and exhausted. But if you're ready to answer, I'm ready to ask. Go ahead, Simona. Michael invited her to proceed with a smile that loosened her hands and tongue. I cannot let him avoid the answers again. I'll ask with directness and demand the same in his answers. Answer the main question. Who are you? An angel like Raphael or a human? Ooh, an archangel. Don't tell me like Archangel Yor. Please, no. I'm an archangel. The direct answer not only deprived her of clarifying questions, but also of the power of speech. After what Raphael had done, it was impossible to guess that they were all celestial beings. But somehow Simona still felt like the ground was slipping out from under her feet. She felt like asking, who am I then? And what connection do I have to all of you? And the others? CASSIEL, and David are demons. Period. What did I say? Demons. When he received no reply, Michael continued. You have nothing to fear from them, Simona. They might have possessed the girl's bodies, not like your colleagues. I figured out that much. Thank you very much. I was talking about this the last episode. What a relief. Simona felt like a fish that had been thrown onto the shore. I mean, in my eyes, it must have been something, because red eyes are not what resemble an angel. One. And on the other side, demons possessing a little girl, and David actually being capable to recite tantra, I'm just gonna call it a tantra, in order to perform the exorcism without him actually being in pain himself, or being like summoned back to hell or something like that, wouldn't have made sense to me. So in my eyes, there would have needed to be different kinds of demons. Simona felt like a fish that had been thrown onto the shore. It was as if the river where she had lived for so many years had suddenly become poisoned. It forced her to flee, but even in a new place, she couldn't breathe. Are there many of you among humans? No, I think you can count us all on the finger of one hand. Well, what are you doing on Earth? Earth isn't the most attractive place for us. Funny. But you're here. Yes, and it's not our choice, it's our duty. She wanted to process this information alone, but the ease with which Michael was answering questions today urged her to stay. Maybe I should stay a little longer? Yes. Of course you would be like that, you fine ass bitch. Michael waited, ready to help her accept this new world. His answer will probably make my head spin. He himself makes my head spin. If you're an archangel, where are your wings? Where are your wings? Can I see them, please? I'm so sorry. Yes. Always with me. A quiet, soft rustling filled the room. It brought a proof that sent shivers down the evaluator's spine. I'm sorry, I just think it's so hilarious that the best story on this fucking app are stories about angels and demons. Heaven's secret makes it possible, alright? Wings grew behind Michael's back like snow-white mountains, slowly and majestically. The sight was so unusual and beautiful that it took her breath away. Even folded, they seemed enormous. I can unfold them. There was something intimate in the offer, but Simona couldn't resist a timid nod. The archangel wings unfurled with a sharp whistle. She couldn't look away, even though her eyes stung with the light emanating from his feathers. The tips were tinged with gold, likely indicating the stages of her superior. He's so beautiful, it's maddening. Simona felt how small this once large room had become, how insignificant she was compared to the being standing beside her. Archangel. It felt as though clouds had descended to earth with his wings, as though they filled her lungs with an overwhelming awe that made it hard to breathe.
Simona?
Simona was overcome with mixed emotions. She wanted to either laugh or fall to her knees. Mikael seemed to sense her mood. He hurriedly folded his wings. He gave his face an expression of human understanding, but she still couldn't look at him the same way she had before. Don't they get in your way?
God gave us the ability to retract them at will before he sent us to Earth. We've grown so used to hiding from others that we don't even show true forms to each other.
So when Mikael talks about his father, he talks to God? He talks about God? And no one has noticed him until now? Ooh!
We control this process well.
I am dead. Don't talk to me.
But sometimes someone might see a feather that fell from a wing.
Then when I suddenly remembered their first meeting, she couldn't hold back a nervous chuckle. It took a feather out of his hair. Ah! I would have thought I would see his true self right away. The same question that had crossed her mind when she remembered Raphael floating under the ceiling now came back to her. How should I act around him now? Normal.
They're just wings, Simona.
And you're just an archangel. Always answering my thoughts. Mikael pursed his lips guiltily, like a thief caught red-handed.
I can't read minds, Simona. It's just that sometimes your thoughts are too loud.
Funny. I'll try to think more quietly. That's hilarious.
It's better to speak up and please don't retreat into yourself.
He feels the more we are quiet, the more he was capable to actually break us mentally. So the more questions we ask, the more he actually feels that we're actually capable to adapt to this reality, that we're fine with what's going on. The fantasy Simona had entertained about her superior now seemed not only silly but frightening. What would he say if he knew I was attracted to him? He's not just my boss, he's the right hand of God, period. What am I to him? Probably something like an ant? Nah. Simona was lost in her thought and didn't notice Mikael moving closer. Girl, if Mikael was actually... if this bitch actually cared about superficial bitch-ass stuff like that, he wouldn't even allowed himself to fall for us. But he did. Simona was lost in her thought and didn't notice Mikael moving closer. His voice took a surprisingly sad tone, as if he shared her longing.
I don't want the wings to become a wall between us.
Me neither.
The world has already set too many obstacles for us.
Simona could have sworn that she could physically feel those obstacles. I'd have to be a complete fool to even think of being attracted to him. Nah. We're attracted to him. I'm telling you. Fearing that Mikael could read this in her eyes, Simona turned away. I won't have any more outbursts or cause you any more problems, I promise. And she's doing exactly what he didn't want to. He wants her to bitch at him. That's what her personality is all about. Us retreating and being don't worry, master, I'm not giving you any more trouble. That's us actually adapting to reality and actually doing what he didn't want us to do. Actually treating him differently now. For him being an archangel and us just being a human. Being an obstacle. There was no approval. Instead, Mikael spoke of something else.
My life on Earth spans millennia, Simona. And while time flows differently for me, the feelings we have for each other are similar.
Simona was stunned by his whispered words. She froze, unable to move. Mikael helped understand the meaning of those words by gently lifting her chin. Oh my god, he opening up, yes! He looked into her eyes.
You mean more to me than you can imagine, Simona.
I'm a wimp. Let me.
But I won't let my feelings harm you.
What do you mean your feelings harm me? The fact that you're not showing your feelings to me is what's harming me. There must have been some secret in his words, but right then they sounded like a rejection. Simona pulled away gently and took a step back. I mean, girl, you're like, keep on showing to him that if possible, you would love to, like, drown. Who am I to question your decision? For a moment, Simona did feel a wall, but it wasn't the wings. Michael seemed to sense this too. He immediately regretted what he had said. Yeah, the wall between you two. Knowing that she has feelings for you and you actually shutting her down. The confession that should have brought them joy now brought only a dull pain. Now that he's confessed out loud, it will be much harder for Michael to keep his feelings to himself. Thank you very much. How did you all end up in Astrea? You've mentioned many times that you didn't choose this path, and now you've told me that living among humans bring no joy to immortals. Is working here your punishment?
I'm fulfilling my duty. As is Raphael.
Mentioning their true nature out loud felt uncomfortable, but with an effort you want to manage it. What about the demons? Don't angels fight them?
Demons tend to fight among themselves.
Yeah. David and CASSIEL.
For power, for thrones, for an extra scrap of land.
Simona thought about that and drew a parallel to humans. It's like we're really made in their image.
However, we do have an unusual mix here. There are some facts about your colleagues' lives that you should indeed know.
Simona held her breath and leaned forward.
David is the son of a demon who was once very influential. If he returns home, he will be torn to pieces. One part of him will replace his father and the other will be destroyed. He chose to live here and serve God.
Oh, wow. So instead of actually serving the demons, he chose to serve God. Nice.
Felony has broken the laws of both heaven and hell. Her path leads only to the gallows.
Is she asking you for mercy?
Not for herself or her loved ones. But it is not in my power to arrange their reunion.
Is she doomed? Simona didn't get to ask exactly what Felony had done before Michael moved on.
CASSIEL is perhaps the only one who can leave, but he is also the only one who certainly never will. He lost someone dear to him here. His cest is buried near the statue of Astrea.
Aye. The stories were so brief yet so heavy in their essence, they settled like a stone on her heart. It suddenly ached for every resident of this house.
That's probably all I can tell you without going into topics I shouldn't.
I understand. Simona felt she had learned too much already. They were supposed to tell me this themselves when the time was right.
Each of us carries their own pain.
I can tell.
And I'm sure we all want to share it with someone, even if no one admits it.
No one wants to feel alone in their grieving. We all want to have someone that we can share everything with. And that's probably what all of them are looking for. Like, just someone that is willing to listen. And someone that is willing to be with them till the ends of earth. Like, you know. Simona would have gladly shared everyone's pain. There was a dissonance within her. Upon learning of her colleague's immortality, she immediately became familiar with their weaknesses, and those weaknesses were common to all mortals. We're all running from something. It doesn't matter if we have wings on our backs or not. Yeah. Like, they are not immune to human charm. Let's just say it like this. And in general, even if you're immortal, it doesn't mean that you can't be killed. Do heaven and hell exist, even though we know it does?
Yes, but the reality is a bit different from what humans describe.
Simona skipped the details and asked the main question in her mind. Did my mother really call me? Did she call me from hell? Damn! Michael had probably promised himself to answer honestly, and so he nodded reluctantly. Yes, it was her. Sometimes a rift opens between our worlds. We try to seal it. Communication between the living and the dead is forbidden.
But it's possible? A glimmer of hope immediately returned to her heart, only to pierce it like a cold steel.
That's very little left of your mother. The glimpse of consciousness you heard on the phone was already a miracle that only a mother trying to protect a child could achieve.
His words brought her even more pain.
The tortures and torments that human souls endure in hell are indescribable. Physical pain is nothing compared to what these souls experience.
Damn. No need to actually make me fear hell, like, goddamn. Michael seemed to sense the effect of his words and hurriedly concluded.
Your mother would hardly remember you even if she saw you. The only thing souls beg for is true death. But Allah's deliverance is a joy they receive only when they can no longer feel.
Damn. I understand, thank you. So they actually go through so much torture in hell until they're completely numb, not capable to ever receive any form of emotion again, and that's when they die? Like when hell literally sucked every single ounce of happiness and humanity out of them. Goddamn. She couldn't suppress her fear. So that's what awaits me after death. Damn, we're not a demon. Simona sighed heavily and finally sat down on the chair. I think I need some time to process all of this.
We're not rushing you, Simona.
After a brief pause, Michael suddenly remembered the superiors.
By the way, Summoners and Furious are also celestial beings.
I think I figured that out as soon as I saw them. What's so special about them?
Their abilities. They can control people's dreams.
Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! So was it them? The unexpected news made her jump up. Can they give people nightmares? Period. She be knowing what's up. Michael wasn't sure what had gotten into her. He nodded thoughtfully. They want me to leave the agency, don't they?
I don't think they would stoop to something like that, Simona.
Well, then let me prove you wrong. She could have argued, but as usual, her boss voice had already cooled her fever.
Have you been having nightmares?
You want me to answer honestly? Yes, ever since Raphael saved me. I dream about the cultists. Just don't tell me it's a result of trauma. Michael showed only concern.
Hope these dreams will stop, Simona. But I'm sure Somnus and Furious are not to blame.
The conversation went no further. The unexpected revelation was so strange it didn't seem like a coincidence. They explicitly said that I have to leave Astrea. They give me horrible assignments, so what's stopping them from messing with my mind if they can? Feeling drained, Simona bid Michael farewell. The words Archangel rang like a bell in her head over and over. How much of the Bible aligns with his biography? Before going to bed, Simona thought about taking the pills Malek had given her. She decided to stop by the kitchen for some water just in case. Raphael? Please? The kitchen greeted her with peaceful silence. The residents of the house made no sounds, allowing her to think calmly about what to do next. Simona worried that it would be even harder for her to escape a nightmare. She gave herself some more time. She twirled the bottle in her hand for a while, then decided to take the pills in her bedroom. It's like I'm delaying the inevitable. But the closer she got to her bedroom door, the more resolve faded. I'll have another nightmare, and nothing will change. Simona truly believed that somewhere in the shadows of her room was Moore himself burned alive in the church, and that he was waiting for her to finally lie down on the bed and close her eyes. What could be scarier than reality where she could really die? But in reality, Raphael saved me. In a dream, I'm alone with the nightmares. And no angel will save me from myself.
Why are you standing still? Startled, Simona dropped the glass that she was holding. She turned around with such a frightened expression that even Cassiel was taken aback. He stared in a daze at the shards on the floor, then at the evaluator. He tried to figure out what he had done wrong this time. No beast needs to hunt me down. Cassiel will kill me with his habit of sneaking up on me. At first she wanted to yell at him, but all her words dissolved in overwhelming fatigue. It felt like the suddenly broken glass had made this decision over accepting Malek's help for her. So no medication then. Simona waved the question away. She thought about cleaning up the shards and where to put them. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Simona waved that away too, kneeling down. Then she realized that if she started picking up the fragments with her own hand again, she would definitely cut herself. I think it's time to visit Astrea's storage closet. The unusual silence worried Cassiel greatly. He knelt beside her and looked intently into her eyes. Are you all right? This needs to be cleaned up. Someone could get hurt. I'll take care of it. Simona was in no mood to argue or clean up. She willingly accepted the help. Thanks. She stood up and headed straight for the bedroom. She prepared to go to sleep. Maybe all of this really was because of my lost memory. Maybe things will get better now. She had barely gotten into bed when there was a soft knock at the door. Simona hoped it wasn't the start of another nightmare. She peered cautiously into the hallway. She was relieved to see Cassiel through the crack in the door. He was holding a glass of water. She opened the door wider. Oh, thanks, but I don't need it anymore. Yes, you do. God, Simona, it's not like I did it on purpose. Oh, Cassiel. No, it's not you. She's being a bitch. It's fine. Simona realized how her words might have sounded. She hastened to explain. I really don't need it. I've changed my mind. The confusion on his face made it clear that taking the glass would be easier than trying to explain anything. But Cassiel did not wait for thanks or explanation. He walked into the room and set the glass on the bedside table. He muttered irritably. Sometimes you act like a child. Me? Me obsessed with you? Yes, I am. Justify yourself. I took the water to wash down some sedatives. I wasn't sure if I should take them or not. When I broke the glass, I decided it wasn't worth it. Trying to grab her point, Cassiel asked, Is this because of the last assignment? No, it's because of my nightmares. They just won't stop. Do you dream about us? Simona shook her head and sat down on the edge of the bed. Maybe I will dream about you tonight. Michael told me that all of you are immortal. The news seemed to surprise Cassiel as well. It surprised him so much that he too decided to sit. He threw Simona a worried glance and sat beside her cautiously. How are you? Simona had to look inside herself in order to answer the question. How am I really? Honestly, I'm not doing so great. No, I'm fine. Be fine for once in your goddamn life. It feels like I've known this for a long time. I just needed to see your wings for everything to fall into place. Cassie's shoulders relaxed a little. I'm glad you're taking this so well. It would be too much for you to handle if I escaped again. Instead of agreeing, Cassiel gave her a warm smile. Simona felt the room fill with the peace that he brought with him. She wanted to keep him there just a little longer to let the room soak up his protection. I need to talk to him about something. Are your wings like Raphael's? Cassiel didn't respond immediately. It was like he was remembering what his colleague's wings looked like. Mine are black. Can you show them to me? No. Before taking offense at his refusal, Simona wondered what the reason might be. Maybe they can't always use them? But Cassiel explained his point. Haven't you seen enough impressive things for one day? No. Are your wings really that impressive? Cassiel sensed her attempt to challenge him and smirked. Oh, sorry, I forgot you're not so easily impressed by wings anymore, Simona. So you won't show them to me? Another time, I promise. Another time was good enough for her. Alright. Try to get some sleep, Simona. We've got a tough assignment tomorrow. To avoid unnecessary anxiety, Simona decided not to ask for details. If you still can't sleep, come knock on my door. We can talk or walk in the garden. Aww. Alright. Your friendship with Cassiel has improved. Let's go. Simona was overwhelmed with gratitude. She barely stopped herself from hugging Cassiel goodbye. But judging by his happy expression, her smile was more than enough for him. Good night, Simona. Good night, CASSIEL. Simona closed the door behind him and finally sank into bed. I hope my night is a streamless one. The house Simona grew up in hadn't changed at all. The floorboards greeted the old resident with a familiar creak. They led her to the old but well-kept couch. The room still smelled the same, a light, honeyed scent of wax, and the musty smell of well-worn books. Simona sat on the firm slipcover. She folded her hands in her lap out of habit and stared at the window. Dusty particles slowly danced in the air in front of it like tiny yellow stars. Simona watched her dance and waited. Her father came down at the same time as always. Are you ready, Simona? Her father stood in front of her, scattering dusty particles. He placed his heavy hand on her fragile shoulder. He squeezed it as he always did without considering his own strength. He didn't expect an answer from her. It was always the same. Standing up obediently, Simona cast a glaring glance at the door leading outside, preparing to leave for the hours-long service. But this time her father led her in a different direction. The room had changed. A door had appeared out of nowhere in the once smooth wall. It creaked open as if obeying a silent command, revealing its black maw. Come on, Simona, I will introduce you to the beast. Y'all, I can't. How is it possible that we're being plagued by nightmares right now? That's not possible. Why are we always the one being fucked over? No matter. Goddamn, I can't. Let's see what next episode will give us. I really hope that we get to see more Raphael so that we can actually talk now. We promised him that we would not run away this next time we saw him. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.